Yes, hello, welcome back to the Goth Reacts with your host, the aforementioned Goth. Here to tell you to not be afraid to assign yourself the label of Goth, and completely and utterly disregard anyone who tries to take that from you. Here we are once again. You're sitting there, and I'm sitting here. It's kind of awkward actually, isn't it? I could actually just upload a video where I sit here and stare at you uncomfortably looking at me. Wouldn't that be funny? But I'm not gonna do that today. Instead, I'm gonna give you content. Hooray! But what should we do? Done the goth thing, we've done the metal thing. How about we do goth girls? No. Metal girls? Perhaps. Maybe we could do goth again. There's always more to say about goth. Hell, it's been going since 1980. Since 1980, actually. I think maybe 1983 was like the first real explosion of the subculture as a youth movement. So, yeah, it's been quite some time. There's plenty to talk about. However, having read a bunch of books on goth, there's really not a lot there. It's almost all the same. The history of goth is not complicated. Neither is goth. It's not complicated. I know they're trying to create a far more complicated application process. Has anyone else got their call for a second interview yet to be goth? No? Yeah, it's a very competitive market these days getting into goth. They're not just giving it to anyone. Let's just have a look at goths on TikTok. Because TikTok is kind of like refreshed and it's all new stuff. Because I've not used it for a while. Goths, tell me the weirdest reaction you've gotten from being out in public. Oh yeah, okay, I can give you one. I remember being dressed up and standing at a bus station. Standing at a bus stop, actually, not even a full station. I was about to get on the bus. Before I got on the bus, I saw these two lads in tracksuits. If you're British, you know where this is going. You know what the tracksuits mean. And they were eating fish and chips out of a carton, you know, like a plastic container. As I step onto the bus, and the wing mirror is right here, I hear this huge crash, like an impact on the side of the bus. And I look to the wing mirror that was in front, that was beside my head here. And it was covered in fish and chips and curry sauce. Because those two f***ers had just launched their food that they were midway through eating at me for looking the way that I looked. Launched it at me. They saw a guy dressed up in makeup and cool black clothes. This was like 2010. And midway through eating, their instinct for consuming food shut down. And instead, the instinct to kill the different thing, to attack the anomaly in the herd, immediately kicked in and he threw his food. Thankfully, I didn't get covered. I didn't even get a speck on me. That wing mirror on that bus saved my life that day. Well, saved their lives, because had they covered me in curry sauce in the outfit that I was wearing, there would be 2 obituaries in the newspaper for that year describing 2 mutilated tracksuit-wearing corpses discovered in East Belfast. Courtesy of your boy. But man, I've got all sorts of crazy stories. I was not afraid to go outside wearing makeup and cool dressy clothes and hell, even androgynous. A lot of the time. As was the J-Rock style. As was the VK way. But British countryside and small country bumpkins are not really the more accepting areas and people for these things. So yeah, I did have a relatively large amount of contention with the locals, who were far less enlightened. But I can honestly say that it was the genuine confusion. Like presenting someone with a shape that they can't figure out. They can't understand it. Like a 4-dimensional shape. Like you can see the back of it as you can also see the front. Or perhaps a color they'd never seen before. Or perhaps a photo of an alien, a genuine alien photo, and it was not what they expected. Whenever people saw me dressed the way that I was dressed, wearing the stuff that I was wearing, when I tell you I was the only goth in the village, I was the only goth in the goddamn village, okay? Even cities over. Swansea City. I remember hanging out there. There was a shit ton of scene kids. A metric ton of emos, but I was the only goth. I was the only one. And for a while there, I was a cyber goth, so that was an even wilder time in my life. But the genuine confusion on people's faces, especially men, in fact, exclusively dudes, it was like, do you want to see a shape? Do you want to see something from the 4th dimension? You might not be able to comprehend it. And there... Right? There wasn't horror. It wasn't... It was like a laughter of, like, nervous laughter. Like, they couldn't understand what they were seeing. They had never been presented with the concept of me at the time. It used to make me so angry. Like, how can you not understand this? Like, how is this so incomprehensible to you? Used to get a bit of a complex about it. Anyone who was just confused, instant boiling blood. Leave a comment down below. I'll hijack this attempt at engagement farming. What's your weirdest story as a goth? God, man. Do you know what? I was thinking the other day on that video, I was like, oh my god, Bite My Hip by Bauhaus? Wow, someone actually chose a goth song and a unique one. I've not heard anyone else listen to that. And then, of course, now I realize it was trending. It was a trending goth song for people to do their songs to. Great. It's also weirdly not political. I thought goth was political. I thought all the music was political. I thought the music was political, Dusty. Dustin, I thought it was all political, dude. What weird political alignment does Bite My Hip have? Help me out here. I've struggled with Bauhaus over the years. I'm gonna be honest with this. I'm always honest with this. I'm never like, oh yeah, I like this band when I don't. It's one of the reasons why people don't like me, because they've never heard a goth actually give a contentious opinion and stand by it. I've always struggled with Bauhaus. I really have. But, however, I have gotten back into listening to that gothic rock stuff and some of the post-punk stuff, especially some of the post-punk stuff. I've actually been really enjoying post-punk more than gothic rock recently. And darkwave as well, but I would say that darkwave now is actually quite good. Modern darkwave, it's weirdly good. I have been asking for decent Bauhaus recommendations for me to try and really get back into it. When I say I've struggled with Bauhaus, I didn't like any of their old stuff. However, Go Away White that they released, I think, in 2008, Go Away White is very good. If you didn't know this, I don't blame you, because goth never talk about it, because they're grifters, they're fakers. It's about the music, but they never, like, give you decent recommendations. Bauhaus released an album in 2008. It's called Go Away White. The whole album is good. Not the whole album, but a lot of the album's very, very good. It's enjoyable. It's quite, it's like they came back and for a reunion and they made that album, and I gave it a listen and I was like, this is actually pretty good. This is not bad. And then I went back to their old stuff and I was going through their In the Flat Fields album, and I was like, I'm gonna have to really give them another go, because having listened to Peter Murphy's new album Silvershade, which is phenomenal, by the way. Listen to it. Peter Murphy from Bauhaus made his own solo project, which is arguably better, and released an album recently that I did a listening party for called Silvershade. And it's really good. Every song, front to back, slaps, dude. Seriously, check it out. Silvershade, Peter Murphy. Listen to it and prepare to be not disappointed, because it's very, very good. Anyway, I went back and I listened to the old Bauhaus stuff from the 80s, right? In the Flat Fields, specifically, I went back to listen to that album. And I'd been asking for recommendations forever for like a decent song from Bauhaus to be like, yeah, this is really good. This is why people like Bauhaus. This must be it. And of course I get Bela Lugosi's Dead, not a good song. I get Dark Entries, also not great. And I was like, yeah, I've heard these, but like, what's like a song that really represents the rawness of Bauhaus and Peter Murphy and them as a band back in those days. And then I came across Double Dare. And I was equally as pleasantly surprised by how good it was, how heavy it was, how raw it was for the year it came out. And equally as pissed that no one had recommended that song to me ever. In the years I've been asking for decent Bauhaus recommendations, no one mentioned that song. Double Dare, easily the best song on the album. Guys, if you're really struggling to get into like that old 80s, late 70s goth shit, and you're like, I've been told I should like this, but it sounds like ass. And there's a reason why it sounds like ass, by the way. And I might do a video on it, but there is a reason why it sounds like ass. It wasn't intentional. But Double Dare by Bauhaus from In the Flat Field, which is, I think, like 1980, right? Listen to Double Dare. It's like, it starts off like an old Black Sabbath track. It's heavy and it's raw. And Peter Murphy is practically black metal screaming in that song. It's great. No one mentioned this. No one? Idiots! What a missed opportunity. When did In the Flat Fields come out? Oh, 1980. Look at that. This song again. No way you got that! Is that real? It has to be. There's no way these goths have the ability to add that in post. Oh, God, dude, that was Perfect. Perfect timing indeed. God, that kind of stuff only happens like 1 in a million. And you got that on camera, Malma. Oh, man. I like that. Oh, I've caught the disease. You touched it. No, you're infected. Oh, do you know what? I kind of wish that goth makeup really was just that transmittable. It would be super nice. You'd have like the mother goth, like the mother dough, you know, the baking concept for sourdough, I think. But it's just like the one goth and you just touch them and you get the makeup. You don't have to spend like an hour doing your own makeup or something like that. It's honestly the worst part, and easily also the best part about being a goth is the makeup. It's super fun. Like, today I'm gonna try this. Let's see what happens. For example, today, or at least a few days ago, I discovered that the foundation that I have been using by NYX, the full coverage that they used to do, has been discontinued. They don't do it anymore, or at least I couldn't find it on any of my outlets anymore. So it's gone. It's not in the high street stores. It's not on the website, or at least Beauty Bay. It's gone. That foundation was perfect. It's this one. Can't remember what it's called, but it's this one. Full coverage, super thick. It didn't wrinkle up around your eyes and your mouth, and it was super pale. And it built up. It was perfect. It was the perfect goth foundation. I've been using it for a decade, maybe longer. So I've had to switch back to MAC Cosmetics. Look, I used to use MAC back in the day, back before they had an NC5. I think the only one they did was like NC15, so you had to use that orange-ass shit and then use white powder foundation from like Stargazer to bring it up a little bit, a couple of shades. But now they do NC5, and I'm using NC5 MAC Cosmetics. It doesn't look too bad, but it's not quite the thick porcelain full coverage look of the NYX foundation stuff that I was using. And I went to go and buy the usual Jeffree Star lip color that I've been known to use in the past. I think it was Unicorn Blood, as well as Designer Blood. I was going to get one of those. Can't get them anymore. Super expensive if you do want them, but you can't get them anymore. They're out of stock, not being restocked. So I had to go again with MAC Cosmetics, and I'm using something called Carnivorous. This shade is called Carnivorous. I quite like it, and it's quite resilient. This shit's been on my hand all day. Where was I going with this? What am I talking about? But yes, getting new products can be super fun, like a new shade, or a new palette, or a new foundation. In fact, foundation was one of the biggest pursuits in my early 20s and late teens, because very rarely could you actually get a foundation that was a light enough shade for what you were going for. It was quite difficult to find something that was outside of the societal norms, because I'm very pale anyway. Your boy is Anglo-Saxon. I am Caucasian Anglo through and through. A pure thoroughbred Englishman with the stunning profile of a Saxon warrior. So shout out to all my homies out there who understand the struggle of trying to find a light enough foundation at the end of the 2000s and the early 2010s. The Stargazer struggle. Oh yes, Stargazer Gate. Anyone remember that? It's all we had. It's all we had. Stargazer. It's the only way you could get white, pale foundation back in those days. Some people would just go ahead and use nothing but straight Stargazer cream. You know, the one with the little plastic spade on the bottle cap coming out, and you like wipe it onto your face. This glass jar of Stargazer chalk. It's like wet chalk. It was awful. It's like grain, like sand. Oh, just terrible. And it made your skin pink because the coverage was terrible. Just wiping it on your face and then desperately trying to get it to layer up. It just never worked. However, I think the Stargazer white pressed powder was better. It was actually better. You could wear that on its own, but if you layered them together, it was fine. It was just, it didn't deal with pores very well, or you know, creases in your face or anything like that. So it always like crack, and the coverage was always patchy. Finding a light foundation was always terrible. It was so hard back in those days. I did end up doing this thing where you'd get the lightest MAC foundation you could, because MAC foundation coverage was relatively good. And then you mix that together with the white Stargazer foundation, and then you kind of do have something quite good to work with there. Talcum powder was like the best loose powder you could really work with. It's like one of the best ones you could work with to like kind of bring the shade up a little bit and really set the foundation. But I use Ben Nye these days. Ben Nye, and I shit you not, Ben Nye Clown White Powder Foundation. It's insanely pigmented. In fact, you can just use the powder alone. It's that pigmented. It's amazing. It does have a clown white foundation, like face paint, like thick cream. Like, it's almost like grease paint, but it's thicker. And that shit does work. Very thick coverage. Doesn't come off as long as you set it correctly as well, but just be warned, long wear, your skin is going to suffer. You're going to sweat a lot. It's very thick. It's a very, very thick foundation. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for showing up to my Stray Guy Talks About Makeup for a bit. Remember, don't forget to... I don't know. Just don't forget to do it. Bye!